Elon Musk fulfilled her last wish she had, and he made it in a way that will break your heart. If you like the story, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. It costs you nothing, but for us, especially in these early days, it means the world. Let's begin. The Twitter notification lit up Sarah Martinez's phone at 3:47 a.m., its pale blue glow illuminating her tear-stained face. But it wasn't the tweet that made her hands tremble. It was the complex orbital mechanics diagram beneath it, sketched in her daughter Anna's precise hand, showing a revolutionary approach to Mars landing trajectories that had finally caught Elon Musk's attention. @Elon Musk has replied to your tweet. 3 months of sharing Anna's innovations. Thousands of retweets from aerospace engineers who'd recognized the brilliance in her work. And finally, those 7 words that would change everything. DM me the details. These calculations are fascinating. Mom? Jamie's voice came from the doorway of their small apartment's kitchen. Her 12-year-old son stood there in his worn Spider-Man pajamas, dark eyes concerned. In his hands, he clutched Anna's latest notebook, the one where she'd been working on a revolutionary atmospheric processing system for Mars, even as the cancer ravaged her body. Sarah stared at her phone, then at the notebook. The pages were filled with Anna's distinctive shorthand, a brilliant mix of chemical formulas, engineering diagrams, and her own invented notation system that had confused even her doctors. They'd thought she was delirious when she covered her hospital room walls with equations, not realizing she was solving one of the fundamental challenges of Mars colonization. "Is it about Anna's CO2 conversion design?" Jamie asked, his voice quiet but eager. He'd spent hours helping his sister run simulations on their old laptop, learning orbital mechanics and atmospheric chemistry far beyond his years because Anna insisted that space exploration was a family endeavor. Sarah nodded, fighting back tears as she scrolled through Musk's replies to Anna's detailed threads about dust storm energy collection and integrated life support systems. For 3 months, she'd shared her daughter's innovations, not seeking pity, but recognition of a brilliant mind that refused to be defeated by failing biology. The latest diagram had been Anna's masterpiece, a completely new approach to landing heavy payloads on Mars using the planet's dust storms to create electromagnetic braking fields. The physics behind it had drawn attention from NASA scientists, but it was the elegance of the solution that had finally made Musk take notice. Sarah touched the worn cover of Anna's first notebook, filled 5 years ago with her earliest Mars colony designs. Inside, a 12-year-old's dreams had evolved into sophisticated engineering solutions that even industry veterans were calling revolutionary. Her daughter wasn't just a sick girl with dreams of Mars. She was a brilliant engineer who happened to be running out of time. The journey began 14 months earlier, but Anna's fascination with Mars started much sooner. At 12, she'd already developed a primitive atmospheric processing model using an old aquarium, creative plumbing, and a chemistry set. While other kids presented baking soda volcanoes at the science fair, Anna demonstrated a working prototype of a system that could theoretically extract oxygen from Mars's CO2-rich atmosphere. "You see," she'd explained to the bewildered judges, pointing to her handmade catalytic converter, "the real challenge isn't just converting CO2 to O2. It's doing it efficiently enough to support a colony with minimal energy input." She'd covered 3 whiteboards with chemical equations proving her theory. The judges awarded her first place, but more importantly, she'd discovered her life's mission. Even then, Anna understood what many seasoned engineers missed. Mars colonization wasn't about individual solutions, but about creating interconnected systems. Her bedroom became a laboratory. Walls covered with technical drawings showing how each component of a Mars colony could support the others. She rebuilt computers from salvaged parts to run increasingly complex simulations, teaching herself programming to model her theories. The diagnosis came during her most ambitious project yet, designing a hybrid hydroponic-aeroponic system that could theoretically grow food using 60% less water than traditional space-based agriculture. When Sarah noticed Anna seemed tired, She assumed it was from staying up late coding fluid dynamics simulations on her rebuilt computer. Dr. Chen delivered the news. Acute myeloid leukemia. Aggressive. Advanced. Sarah remembered staring at the examination room posters while Anna immediately started calculating survival probabilities and treatment efficacy rates in her ever-present notebook, approaching her own mortality like another engineering challenge. "Mom," Anna had said that first night in the hospital, her voice steady as she sketched designs by the light of medical monitors. "I need you to understand something. This cancer is just another hostile environment like Mars. Everything's trying to kill you, but you solve it step by step, system by system." The next few months transformed Anna's hospital room into a combination research lab and mission control. She covered the walls not with typical teenage posters but with technical drawings and mathematical proofs. Between chemotherapy sessions, she worked on solving radiation shielding problems that plagued Mars mission planning, using her own treatment as a source of insight. Her oncologist, Dr. Chen, became an unlikely technical advisor, helping her understand radiation's effects on human tissue at a molecular level. The same principles protecting astronauts could improve cancer treatment, Anna explained during one particularly rough night, her fingers flying across her tablet despite the IV lines. "It's all connected space exploration, medical research, human survival. We just have to see the patterns." She'd already drafted a paper suggesting modifications to radiation therapy based on her Mars shielding calculations. Sarah worked double shifts at the diner, picking up every extra hour available, not just for the mounting medical bills, but for the specialized engineering software Anna needed to run her simulations. Jamie learned to cook and clean, taking over household duties so their mother could work and Anna could focus on her designs. He became her research assistant, learning to read scientific papers and help with basic calculations. The hospital staff adapted to Anna's unique schedule. She insisted on being awake for every SpaceX launch, live streaming them while taking detailed notes. She developed her own notation system for spacecraft design improvements, filling notebook after notebook with innovations that combined existing technology in ways no one had considered before. "The problem with current Mars architecture," she explained to Jamie one evening, her voice weak but her eyes bright with purpose, "is that everyone's trying to adapt Earth solutions. We need to think like Martians from the start. Every system has to serve multiple purposes, just like in nature. Nothing can be wasted. Nothing can exist in isolation." The aerospace community discovered Anna's work through an unlikely source, Dr. Chen. The oncologist had shown Anna's radiation shielding designs to her brother, a materials engineer at NASA. He'd been so impressed that he shared them on a technical forum, asking if anyone knew who'd created these brilliant but mysterious solutions to long-standing Mars colonization challenges. When word spread that the designs came from a 15-year-old fighting cancer, the response wasn't what anyone expected. Instead of sympathy, Anna received technical questions. Aerospace engineers, materials scientists, and environmental systems specialists began reaching out, eager to discuss her innovations on their merits. "They're treating me like a real engineer," Anna told Sarah one morning, her face glowing as she scrolled through emails from PhDs and industry veterans. Not a sick kid, a colleague. She'd just spent 2 hours in a detailed discussion about her water recycling system with a professor from MIT who'd called her approach revolutionary in its elegance. The MIT professor wasn't exaggerating. Anna's designs stood out because they approached Mars colonization holistically. While most engineers focused on individual systems, she designed integrated solutions. Her greenhouse modules weren't just for growing food. They incorporated water recycling, atmospheric processing, and radiation shielding into a single, elegant system that mimicked Earth's natural cycles. "It's like a living organism," she explained during a video call with a SpaceX environmental systems engineer who'd found her work online. "Each part supports the others. The plants clean the water shields from radiation, the radiation drives chemical processes that feed the plants. It's all connected, just like Earth's ecosystems." The cancer continued its assault, but Anna's mind remained sharp. She started hosting weekly Mars architecture sessions from her hospital bed, connecting with engineers and scientists worldwide. Jamie recorded these sessions, amazed as his sister held her own in complex technical discussions with industry leaders. One session focused on her most innovative concept, using Mars's notorious dust storms as an energy source. "Everyone sees the dust as a problem," Anna explained, sketching rapidly as she spoke. "But what if we designed collectors that could harvest the static electricity generated by dust particles colliding? It's like a planet-sized Van de Graaff generator." The idea caught fire in the aerospace community. #Annastorm started trending as engineers and physicists began running simulations based on her concept. A team at Stanford published a paper analyzing the feasibility of her dust-based energy collection system, citing Martinez A in their references. The paper caught the attention of several major aerospace companies. Boeing sent a team to interview Anna about potential applications of her energy collection system for Earth-based aviation. NASA engineers began incorporating her radiation shielding concepts into their own Mars mission plans. But Anna remained focused on her ultimate goal, SpaceX and its founder. "Musk understands that Mars colonization isn't just about getting there," she explained to Jamie while reviewing SpaceX's latest Starship test data. "It's about creating a sustainable civilization. That's why my designs would work best with their program." She spent hours analyzing each SpaceX launch, identifying ways her integrated systems could improve their existing technology. Sarah watched all this with a mixture of pride and heartbreak. Her daughter was changing the future of space exploration from a hospital bed, even as her own future slipped away. The doctors spoke of weeks remaining, while universities were asking about collaborations that would take years. That's when Sarah started her Twitter campaign to reach Musk. But instead of focusing on Anna's illness, she shared her daughter's technical innovations. Each tweet contained a different design, calculation, or insight that showcased Anna's brilliant mind. She included detailed threads about Anna's dust storm energy collection system, her integrated life support designs, and her revolutionary approach to radiation shielding. "Your daughter's mind is extraordinary," Dr. Chen said one evening, reviewing Anna's latest work on improving chemotherapy delivery systems based on her spacecraft life support designs. "She sees connections that others miss. She's not just solving problems, she's changing how we think about solutions." The campaign gained momentum when several SpaceX engineers recognized the value in Anna's work. They began subtly incorporating her ideas into their designs, particularly her innovative approach to water recycling. Without realizing it, Anna was already contributing to humanity's journey to Mars. As her condition worsened, Anna worked with even greater urgency, as if racing against her own mortality to solve as many problems as she could. "Every solution I figure out," she told Sarah late one night, "is one less problem the first Mars colonists will face. Even if I can't be there, part of me will be helping them survive." When Musk's response finally came, he didn't just offer a meeting. He sent his top engineering team first. The day after his tweet, 4 senior SpaceX engineers arrived at Anna's hospice room, rolling in presentation boards and laptops. They weren't there to grant a wish. They were there for a technical consultation. "Your dust storm energy collector," the lead engineer began, pulling up detailed simulations. "We've been running the numbers using data from our Mars probes. With some modifications to the collection surface design, it could potentially power an entire Mars base during dust season. We'd like your input on the materials specification." Anna's eyes lit up with a fire that even the cancer couldn't dim. For the next 3 hours, she led a technical discussion that left even the veteran engineers taking notes. She'd already anticipated their questions about material degradation and had designed a self-cleaning system using the same dust that provided power. "The key isn't fighting the environment," she explained, sketching on her tablet with slightly shaking hands. "It's working with it. Mars is harsh, but every challenge it presents is also an opportunity. The dust that clogs our filters can power our homes. The radiation that threatens our lives can drive chemical processes. The extreme cold can be used for superconductivity. The engineers exchanged looks of growing excitement as Anna walked them through her integrated systems approach. Her design didn't just solve individual problems, it transformed Mars's hostile environment into a complex support system for human life. She showed them how her designs could reduce the payload mass of Mars missions by 40% while increasing redundancy and reliability. "Look at this integration point," she said, highlighting a section of her designs. "The water recycling system's waste heat isn't just dumped. It's channeled to maintain optimal temperature in the greenhouse modules. The excess humidity from the greenhouses is captured and used to clean the dust collectors. Every waste product becomes a resource." However, the intense session took its toll. By evening, Anna was exhausted, her breathing labored. The doctors insisted she rest, but she refused to stop working. "I need to finish this," she whispered to Sarah. "There's so much more to figure out." That's when Musk himself arrived, unannounced and carrying a laptop. He'd reviewed the team's report and had come to see the mind behind these innovations for himself. But what he found wasn't just a brilliant engineer. He found someone who fundamentally challenged his own thinking about Mars colonization. "You're approaching this differently than anyone else," he said, reviewing her designs. "We've been thinking about surviving on Mars. You're thinking about thriving there. Your integrated systems approach could cut our development timeline by years." For the next few hours, Anna and Musk engaged in a deep technical discussion that ranged from rocket propulsion to sociology. She challenged his assumptions about colony design, pointing out how social dynamics should influence architectural choices. "The common areas in your current plans are too separated from the work areas," she explained, pulling up her alternative layout. "Martian colonists will need constant reminders that they're part of a community, not just workers in a facility. The architecture should encourage interaction, like how ancient Roman cities were designed." She showed him simulations of how her design would naturally create gathering spaces and promote social interaction while maintaining operational efficiency. "The psychological health of the colonists is just as important as their physical health," she explained. "If we don't account for that in the basic infrastructure, we're setting them up for failure." Musk leaned forward, intrigued. "You're thinking about psychological sustainability, not just physical." "Everything's connected," Anna replied, sharing her comprehensive colony simulation. "The mental health of the colonists affects their productivity, which affects resource usage, which affects colony sustainability. You can't separate the human element from the engineering." As their discussion continued, something unexpected happened. Musk began taking notes from her, not just about technical solutions but about the entire philosophy of Mars colonization. He saw in Anna's work a vision that went beyond the mechanical challenges. She understood that succeeding on Mars meant reimagining human civilization itself. The meeting concluded with an unprecedented offer. SpaceX would not only implement her designs, but would establish the Ana Martinez Division for Integrated Colony Systems, dedicated to her holistic approach to Mars colonization. Her work would become the foundation for all future Mars habitat design. "We need to start implementing these ideas immediately," Musk said, already sending messages to his team. "Your water recycling system alone could save us millions in launch costs. The dust collection system could solve our power generation challenges. And your approach to integrated systems, it changes everything." But time was running out. Even as plans were being made to incorporate her ideas into future missions, Anna's condition deteriorated rapidly. The cancer was advancing faster than anyone had expected, threatening to silence her brilliant mind before all her innovations could be documented. "We need to set up a permanent link," Musk told Sarah in the hallway. "Every idea, every calculation, every insight she has needs to be recorded. She's solved problems we didn't even know we had yet. We can't lose any of it." Within hours, SpaceX had set up a dedicated server to record and analyze Anna's work. Every word she spoke was transcribed, every sketch was digitized, every calculation was preserved. They brought in specialists to help translate her unique notation system into standard engineering formats. But Anna wasn't satisfied with just preserving her existing work. Even as her strength faded, she pushed herself to solve more problems, to think through more challenges, to leave as complete a legacy as possible for the future Mars colonists she would never meet. In the final days, Anna's hospice room transformed into an impromptu SpaceX satellite office. Engineers worked in shifts, documenting every detail of her designs while she could still explain them. They brought in specialized equipment to record her ideas, including a holographic display that allowed her to manipulate 3D models of her designs with minimal movement. The dust collection system needs one more component, Anna insisted, her voice barely above a whisper as she manipulated the hologram. The particles will create static interference with communications unless… She paused, fighting for breath. Unless we incorporate a grounding system into the collection arrays themselves. The interference pattern could actually boost our signal strength if we design it right. The SpaceX team watched in amazement as she sketched out a design that turned what they'd seen as a critical problem into an unexpected advantage. It was this ability to see opportunities where others saw obstacles that made Anya's work so revolutionary. Between engineering sessions, she worked on something even more ambitious, a comprehensive philosophical framework for Mars colonization. Her Martian Manifesto, as the SpaceX team began calling it, outlined principles for building not just a sustainable colony, but a new kind of human society. "We can't take Earth's mistakes with us," she explained during one late-night session as Sarah and Jamie listened from beside her bed. "Mars isn't just another frontier to conquer. It's an opportunity to reimagine everything. Government, education, resource management, social structures. We need to design systems that encourage cooperation, not competition." The SpaceX team was particularly struck by her concept of circular ethics, the idea that every decision on Mars must consider its impact on both the human community and the planet's potential for future life. She had designed her systems not just for immediate survival, but with the goal of eventual Martian terraforming in mind. As Anna's strength waned, she focused on what she called her legacy projects, solutions to problems that wouldn't arise for decades. She designed adaptable infrastructure that could evolve as the colony grew, and educational systems that would prepare the first Martian-born generation for their unique role in human history. "The children of Mars will see Earth differently," she told Jamie during one of their final conversations. "They'll grow up understanding how precious life is, how every resource is connected to every other resource. They'll be the first humans to truly understand that we're all part of one giant system." Her work had begun to influence projects beyond Mars colonization. NASA was adapting her water recycling system for use in drought-stricken regions on Earth. Medical researchers were studying her radiation shielding designs for potential applications in cancer treatment. Environmental scientists were applying her integrated systems approach to climate change solutions. Musk made an unprecedented decision. SpaceX would integrate Anna's philosophical framework into their entire Mars program, not just the technical specifications. Her Martian Manifesto would become required reading for every potential colonist. The final piece of Anna's legacy came together just hours before she lost consciousness. She had been working on a mysterious calculation, something she insisted was crucial but wouldn't explain. When she finally finished, she handed the notebook to her mother with shaking hands. "It's a message," she whispered, "written in the language of orbital mechanics and atmospheric chemistry. When the first dust storm hits the collectors I designed, they'll create a pattern of lights visible from Earth. The equations ensure it will happen exactly 50 years from the first landing." Sarah looked at the complex calculations, not understanding the math but recognizing their importance. "What will the message say? Mi amor?" Anna smiled weakly. "Look at the pattern. It's not words, it's a DNA helix. A reminder that even across the vastness of space, all life is connected. That's what Mars taught me, Mom. Everything is connected. The dust storms, the radiation, the cold, They're not our enemies. They're part of a system we need to understand and work with. She spent her final conscious hours reviewing her calculations one last time, making sure every detail was perfect. This isn't just about the message, she explained to the SpaceX engineers. The pattern will create a resonance in the atmosphere that could help with terraforming. Even the light show has a practical purpose. 3 months after Anna's passing, Sarah and Jamie stood at Cape Canaveral, watching final preparations for the Starship launch that would carry their daughter's legacy to Mars. But this wasn't just another SpaceX mission. It was the first test of what the company now called the Martinez Integration Protocol. The massive rocket gleamed in the morning sun, but what made it unique wasn't visible from the outside. Inside, Anna's designs had fundamentally transformed the spacecraft's systems. Her integrated life support approach had reduced the overall system weight by 23%, allowing for additional scientific payload that could accelerate Mars colonization research. Elon Musk approached them, holding a tablet displaying real-time system diagnostics. "There's something you should see," he said, leading them to a private viewing area. On multiple screens, engineers were running final checks on systems that all bore Anna's distinctive touch: the dust collection arrays, the integrated greenhouse modules, the psychological support architecture. "But that's not all," Musk continued, pulling up a special display. "We've integrated her final design, the one even our senior engineers are still studying." He showed them a simulation of how Anna's last equations would play out over 5 decades on Mars, creating the DNA helix pattern through carefully choreographed dust storm energy collection. "She didn't just design it to be visible from Earth," one of the lead engineers explained, joining them. "The pattern will be visible in exactly the right wavelength to be detectable by the James Webb Space Telescope's successors. She calculated atmospheric degradation, dust interference, even solar radiation variations over 50 years. The mathematics behind it, it's something we've never seen before." The engineer pulled up more detailed analyses. "Look at these equations. She wasn't just creating a light show. She was designing a system that would help initiate atmospheric transformation. The energy pattern she calculated will create specific chemical reactions in the Martian atmosphere. She found a way to begin terraforming using the very dust storms that make Mars seem uninhabitable." But the most profound part of Anna's legacy was already taking shape on Earth. The Anna Martinez division had expanded beyond SpaceX, becoming a collaborative effort between multiple space agencies. Her integrated systems approach was being adapted for climate change solutions. Her water recycling designs were being tested in drought-stricken regions, and her radiation shielding innovations were revolutionizing cancer treatment. Jamie proudly showed them his acceptance letter to the first Anna Martinez engineering program, a special curriculum based on his sister's interdisciplinary approach. The program would train a new generation of engineers to see connections across systems, just as Anna had. As the countdown began, Sarah clutched the small box containing Anna's original notebooks. After the launch, they would be enshrined in the Smithsonian, alongside other documents that had changed the course of human history. But first, they would be scanned and encoded into the ship's computers, ensuring that every future Mars mission would carry Anna's complete works. The ground trembled as the engines roared to life. Sarah looked up at the massive rocket, seeing not just a spacecraft but the physical embodiment of her daughter's vision. Anna had done more than design better systems. She had fundamentally changed how humanity thought about its future among the stars. The Starship rose from the launch pad, carrying Anna's innovations towards the Red Planet. But her greatest achievement wasn't in the spacecraft's hardware or software. It was in how she had transformed the very concept of space exploration from conquest to collaboration, from survival to symbiosis. Today, 5 years after that historic launch, Anna Martinez's vision continues to reshape humanity's journey to the stars. Her integrated systems approach has become the foundation of all major space exploration initiatives. The first Mars base, currently under construction, follows her design principles down to the smallest detail, from the community-centric architecture to the revolutionary dust collection arrays that power the entire facility. The impact of her innovations reached far beyond Mars. Her water recycling system has been implemented in 12 countries, providing clean water to communities that once faced chronic shortages. Hospitals worldwide have adopted her radiation shielding techniques, dramatically improving the effectiveness of cancer treatments. Climate scientists have embraced her integrated systems approach, leading to breakthrough solutions in environmental restoration. The Martinez Principles, derived from her Martian Manifesto, are now required study at every major engineering school. Her concept of circular ethics has influenced fields far beyond space exploration, from urban planning to environmental conservation. The Ana Martinez Memorial Scholarship has funded over 100 young innovators who share her integrated vision. Jamie, now in his final year of the engineering program she inspired, leads a research team developing applications of her designs for solving Earth's climate crisis. Their first project successfully adapted her water recycling system to revitalize drought-stricken communities in developing nations. Anna always said that Mars would teach us how to be better stewards of Earth, he often tells his students. She was right about that, like she was right about so many things. Sarah still keeps Anna's final notebook, the one containing the equations for the DNA helix message. Next year, when the Mars colony activates its first dust collection array, they'll begin the 50-year countdown to Anna's final gift to humanity, a message of unity written in light across the Martian sky. In the SpaceX headquarters lobby, beside Anna's displayed notebooks, there's a quote that captures the essence of her legacy. Mars taught me that everything is connected: the dust in the storm, the water in the soil, the air in our lungs, the dreams in our hearts. We're all part of one incredible system, stretching from Earth to the stars. Understanding this connection isn't just about survival. It's about learning to thrive together, wherever we go.